If you're studying by yourself, more than likely you may get confused with these two tenses. So I thought that it would be fun to give you exercises for this lesson. So I'm going to explain what they are, give you an opportunity to fill in the blank. Speaking practice, tell me if it's past or past continuous. And then we're going to talk about three irregular verbs. Afterwards, after that, we're going to talk about how to conjugate the verb to be. Because if you don't understand that, you got to grasp that by at least by the end of the lesson, okay? If not, everything will be just fine. You won't die. You won't die. Okay? So what is past continuous? What is past tense? Excuse me. Past tense. It happened just one time. You see this hammer? It's going doom, doom, doom. I'm doing it over and over again. It's not past tense. I can't just add an ed to this action and say that it's correct. 非常好. Not at all. Okay? So, this hammering over and over is past continuous action, is a past continuous action. For the past tense that happened just one time, how many times did it happen? One time. You just add an ed to it. To fix, so you say fixed. For an example, my mom fixed my bracelet. Okay? Now, I'm learning sign language, so that came naturally. Irregular verbs, you're just going to change it to the correct form. And with my knowledge of learning languages, I know that in Spanish and German, I just have to memorize the irregular verbs. In Chinese, as far as I can see as a beginner, they don't have irregular verbs. They may have um, some words that you add on to let people know that a situation changed in the past or they have those words. But as far as I can know, it's not as complicated. So to bring is an irregular verb. To bring transforms into brought. So Kent brought his cat along. Okay. Past continuous. What in the world is past continuous? It's one of those actions. Remember that hammer that was hitting that nail? It happens over and over and over again. I was teaching kindergartners last year. That means for 9 months, I was a kindergarten teacher. Okay. All those months, I was doing it over and over again. I was teaching kindergartners last year. And I can even finish that sentence with saying, I was teaching kindergartners last year, but this year I'm teaching first graders. That's how you can complete that sentence. So now that we know what both of those are, past and past continuous, number one, you tell me what the answer is. Now you can fit a few different verbs in this blank, but I'm going to give you mine and you'll see how to conjugate it, okay? Because it's a regular verb. Yesterday I blank Chinese with my teacher. My verb is to practice. That changes to practice. Yesterday I practiced Chinese with my teacher. 老师,我的老师, my teacher. During class, I was, that's a to be. And then the verb was take. So then I just say ing taking. During class, I was taking notes. That means that all throughout class, I was taking notes. All right, fun stuff. Okay, 非常好. And if you're wondering how I came up with was running, this is the formula for the past continuous. First, you need your subject. Then you need the past tense of the past continuous for was and were, plus the base verb and add an ing, then your object. So we were running home. We were running home. This is how you get the formula to create your past continuous. Now, let's continue on with more exercises. Speaking practice. I'm going to ask you this question and you respond to me out loud. I mean, I want to hear you. What did you eat this morning? Okay. Hopefully you conjugated it to I ate because this is an irregular verb. So I would respond, I had or I ate a salmon salad. That's what I have for breakfast every morning. Number two, what were you doing when your dad called you? I'm going to say I was studying when my dad called me. I was studying. Okay. Now, this is a good indication to let you know that you need to use past continuous when you see the word when, because you were doing something, you were continuing to do something. I was studying. I hadn't stopped yet. I'm still going. But when my dad called, he interrupted me. Okay? So, what were you doing? Were you eating? Were you walking? Were you driving? Were you riding on the bus? You were doing something that hadn't stopped, okay? Before something happened. Now, here's the fun part. We're getting ready to have some fun. So, past or past continuous? You tell me, and I'll give you a few seconds. Their car broke down. I'll give you all the answers on the next slide. I was reading a book when you called me. They were having monthly meetings last year. They were having. I visited Honduras and Mexico 13 years ago. Now, you ready for the answers? Okay, let's do this. Let me know how many you got right down below, okay? So, number one is pass. The key here is looking at the word broke. Number two is past continuous because it says, I was reading. Number three is past continuous. They were having. And number four is in the past, I visited. You see that ed on the end there? It's only past tense. It happened once. Three irregular verbs. I wanted to bring this up because if you're having trouble with the past tense, you need to be familiar with a few irregular verbs. Number one is to come. In the past tense, meaning it happened once, it's came. It transforms into came. Now, for past continuous, as you can see, is I was coming to your house. Okay, I was coming. They were coming to school every day. They were coming to school every day, but they stopped. They were coming is the past continuous. The second irregular verb is to sit. It in the past tense, meaning it happened how many times? Uno. Sat. She was sitting in her room, meaning all day. She was sitting in her room all day, all week. She was sitting in her room for a whole hour. Okay. They were in class together in the first grade. So the whole 9 months In school, they were in class together. It happened every day, month after month. Okay? They were in class together. The last irregular verb is to eat. Eat changes it to ate. Okay? They were eating junk, but we were eating, I'm sorry. We were eating junk, but it started to make us sick. So we stopped. And the last sentence here is they already were eating pizza when their dad brought dinner home. Yikes. He said, we'll eat that for breakfast. Don't even worry. This food is not going to waste. All right. And to wrap up class here, we're going to conjugate the past tense and the singular person first. First person is I, that's I was, okay? Second person is you were. Third person, he, she, or it was. The plural person, meaning there was more than one person. We were. And the second person here, as in you were, it means in the South, we would say y'all. Okay? Y'all were. The third person is they. They were. They were drinking water. Okay? Okay, homework, because how fun would class be if you didn't have homework? All right, I am learning that you remember more when you give yourself homework. I want you to write 4 sentences. If you are advanced, I want you to write 4 sentences using both the past tense and the past continuous. If you are anything other than advanced, meaning intermediate, or if you are a beginner, I would like for you to just use past tense in one paragraph, and then in the next paragraph, use past continuous. All right? So, once you do that, if you would like for me to see it so that I can check it and grade it, you can message me on Instagram or send me an email at improvemypro@gmail.com. I'll put that email down in the description box. I hope you have a better understanding of how to use past tense and past continuous in your conversation and writing. All right, guys, with that being said, I'm LaDoris. I help professionals speak English clearly so that they won't be overlooked while they are at work. Okay? So, I will see you guys in the next video on Friday, and choose y adios. 再见.